We work all year for 10 games, 10 guaranteed games. And so it's like, whenever I get on that field, and I try to tell my brothers and the people around me, like, time is now. It's a TikTok dance, yeah. So we really took inspiration last year. We had an offensive lineman, he's our starting guard now, Peyton. Him and Cooper Stewart, they did this dance on TikTok. And like people would speed it up and they posted it. And I was like, we gotta do that one. We gotta do that one. Chance came, I got the sack, and me and Nico been practicing it since week 2. So, you know, once we got the chance, I know we had to. Me and Chris have done a couple, and so it's really just like celebrating a big play with your brothers, you know. When you're all doing this and we're all doing it together, it makes it so much more special. And it's, you know, creates a bond that like no other I've ever had.
And that's why you don't ever see me complaining when he celebrates. It's like you've worked, you know, this is my old pro coming out, is you've worked all week, you've lifted weights, you've watched film, you've made the play, celebrate. Celebrate with your team because you've got to put in the work. This is a great play. Y'all celebrate. Enjoy what y'all have accomplished together. I got a contract with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we were early in our marriage and decided to go see what Canadian football was like, and that's how we ended up in Canada.
I remember, so I'm a big fan of the cold. I like everything cold, you know, and being outside and stuff. And one thing I really liked about being the youngest child is I always got to participate in my older sister and older brother's practices. And so, you know, they played flag football too. And so I loved going out there and competing with them. And I really think that practicing with like older kids and being around football, that's what really drove me to be better.
We wanted our children to experience high school in Texas. We just felt like high school in Canada, while the education part was really great, there's lots of things lacking, like the football programs, the marching bands, just the whole experience of growing up in Texas high school athletics. That was important for us, and we wanted our children to experience that. Freshman year, because that's when he was playing running back.
That was when he changed from offense to defense, is at Lone Star, his freshman year. Right? In an attempt, and I told him, I remember this clear as day, I remember like, look, if you want to play more, all right, you gotta get in a different position. Because if you look down the road, they've already got fast guys doing this as running back, they already done this. He's a pounder running back, right? Yeah. That's just what he is. He's like a Jerome Bettis, you know? And that's not the offense that Lone Star runs. They want a smaller scat back type guy, right? For the most part. And I was like, but, you know, what do you do well? You can go get the quarterback. Why don't we start doing some of this?
Touchdown! So back in the day, I loved running back. I loved scoring touchdowns, making big runs, but truly my heart has always been on defense. I love making a big tackle, I love making a hit, getting off of that quarterback.
Part of me was like, I want him to feel what Friday Night Lights is like. That's what I grew up playing, you know, coming out from Georgetown, Texas. We would play our rival and there'd be thousands of people in the stands, and I wanted him to feel what the band is like when they're pounding and you're playing, and the smells of, you know, the concession stand, there's flags in both stands, the student section, right? Like I wanted that for him, and we had no idea what Lone Star was when we moved here. We just moved to an area that we thought was a good area, and it just happened that it was in the district that Marcel was going to play at one of the highest levels in the state.
One day we were sitting on the couch and he pulled up some of his old highlights, and it was just like, it was crazy to see, you know. I chose football because, you know, I like to hit, I like to play it, but a lot of it's because of my dad. So sometimes I go on YouTube and I used to watch his old highlights and stuff like that because I was too young, and obviously I wasn't even born when he played. And so growing up, I always liked to watch that. It was a big part of why I played offense too, was because, you know, I had such a great mentor that I always wanted to be like him.
Was able to go and play for the Denver Broncos, had a cup of coffee in the NFL, as I tell people. Played a year, then hurt my knee, was out, was on the roster, but I was out a year. When I fully healed up, the opportunities weren't there, and so I went to Canada, played Canadian football, and I got to tell you, it was fun. Like it was awesome to see my jersey in the stands and throwing the passes and catching touchdowns. And you know, I've had a good career. In Canada, I was able to be part of the Hall of Honor.
He was my coach growing up. He taught me everything I know. He installed when I was a young kid how to play the game correctly. And he taught me how to read the offenses, how to read the defenses. And so, not only do I know as a D lineman what I do, but the linebackers behind me, how they fit. And so, kind of to honor him, because all he's done for me, it's an honor that I get to wear the 44 now too, just as he did. I always looked up and I saw just 535. I can get that. Going into my junior year, I was only squatting like 405, 425, and so, I really worked at it and pushed at it, because once I got my eye on a goal, I'm gonna do anything to reach it. Once he pulls, come out. That's how they're gonna block me. He's gonna pull, he come out, and then he'll probably double the nose. Every day I wake up to play the game. I wake up early in the morning, 5:45 practices. I push myself, so when it does come on Friday, I'm not training, I'm showing what I have put in the work. And so I try to really tell my team and pick them up too, because it's like we worked all off season, all summer, every time we picked up the weights, every time we ran a drill, it was for this moment. He
takes his role seriously, that he really wants to make everyone around him better. And then that way because he's like, we're going to state. We've told our family we're going to state, right? And so that's the goal, and is to motivate everyone, to keep everybody up in practice.
Why can't it be you? Somebody's going to state, and I know that might sound like a lofty, why can't it be you? If you're going to accomplish that though, there are these other things that need to be done so that you guys can get there.
But Marcel, the other thing I said about having fun, I know I gotta calm you down sometimes, but gosh almighty, son, I love your passion. I love your emotion. I love your enthusiasm. If we can all play like that every single down, every single day, because he does it every single day. Y'all see it at practice, you see it in the games, that's what it's about. That's how you play the game of football. You with me? Bring that every single day, all right?
It's nice to be noticed for the work you put in, and I'm not always doing it for that, I do it for the love of the game.
That's what you see with Marcel, is he's not gonna be tired, he's gonna go hard, and then everybody's gonna come with him. Because if he's gotta set that standard, then he's gonna set that standard. And if the head coach is saying that, there's a reason.
Just shoot that gap, boom. There is no holding back for the rest of my high school career. And so it's like every practice, every time, every rep, it's got a different magnitude to it now. Pushing it back, so he cuts back my side, boom. Don't see me.
We have kicks on though? Is that what we're doing?
Right. Unfortunately, I'm not 6'5", 240, I'm 6'1", 230, but my dad's always taught me, I might not be the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, but I can play the hardest. I can play through the whistle, I can try to punch at every ball, I can track that quarterback down, and I can lift extra weights, I can show up early to practice, I can stay later for practice, I can practice when no one else is out there. And so I feel like he's out there with me too, so I'm not doing this by myself, and I feel like the supporting cast I got around me, they help me to push me so I can do that. My dad's always told me, just make plays.
When he was little, and I knew that he was gonna be a football kid, I focused on the things I knew we could attain. You can be more aggressive than everybody, right? And you can work to be stronger than everybody, because that's us. We can do that. So since he was a little, I made it so he's meaner, he's more aggressive, he will hit anybody, because that's what we can do.
I might not have the measurables, I might not be the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, but I'm always work to be better, and I'm gonna be the best I can be, and I'm gonna be the best for the team.
He plays with his heart, right? And if he's gonna play with his heart, there's other people that see that. There's other teammates that see that. And I'm like, well, if that's what you're gonna be, if that's what you are, then show it. And then let that energy be the thing that drives you. And then that's what you see.
Matt and I were both college athletes that went to school on scholarships, and we were both recruited late.
This last week, right, you look down the sideline, several college coaches, right? But, they might not be looking for a defensive end. regardless of who's in the stands, and I've told them, it doesn't matter if I'm in the stands or she's in the stands, you play as hard as you can and you make plays for your team. Everything else is going to take care of itself when it takes care of itself.
Now, if it was swim, it's an emotion.
This is the best chance we've ever had to win it all. And I just remember thinking, that's all I ever wanted. All I'm working for is that. And this year I look around and I see the defense and I see the offense, and I think that we got, all the puzzle pieces are finally coming together. And Coach Rayburn says that it's special. It's special.
For your friends.
Yeah, you got a lot of friends in that area. It's kind of
friends, yeah. They've always been my biggest supporters, and honestly, I wouldn't be here without the support they give me and how they push me. My dad might be at the field with me, but my mom is still, she's making doctor's appointments to get my knees checked out, or she's over here helping me ice, she's helping me do the stretches and stuff like that.
That's a year ago, dude?
Oh yeah, we gotta redo that.
Gosh.
They've always set out a plan for me to achieve my goals.
Marcel is he's the baby. There is a part of us that feels sad. It's like, these are our last football games that we're gonna be going to, the last time we're helping him get ready for homecoming, prom. When we get to graduation, that'll be the last student we have that walks across for high school.
I want to enjoy this, but it went by so fast.
I'm so thankful that I have them to support me, because I could not do it without them.